Good morning, children. I am happy to see you again. I hope everyone is safe at home. So, let us go to the class. Before starting our class, I request everyone to have your book in your hand. So, in the previous class, we are dealing with the lesson Changes Around Us. So, just we can recall what are things we learned in the previous class. So, as I said, we are dealing with the lesson Changes Around Us, in that we studied about the chemical changes. So, what is the meaning of chemical changes? So, chemical change, the change which is irreversible and permanent, that is we can't get it back the same product, that is the meaning. So, it forms a new product, that is called as chemical change. I can give a very easy example, that is curdling of milk. That is when milk can be turned into curd, but curd cannot be turned back into milk. So, that is the best example that to just keep in your mind, that is the curd is a new product what you got, and here only one side reaction will go on, that is the reactants will give the products no back reactions. So, that is a definition for the chemical change. So, I hope you have learned already, just revise once before entering the class. The next we study the topic is factors determining chemical change. So, we have studied so many factors, that is the chemical reactions or chemical change will not take in all the time, it needs a specific conditions to occur. So, what are the specific conditions? What are the factors induces the chemical changes or chemical reactions? The first one, when they come in contact in their physical state itself. Some reactions will happen when they are in the physical state. I can say a good example, the rusting of iron. That is, the iron is a solid, when it comes in contact with the moist, when they are kept in the moist place in the presence of water as well as in the presence of air, it forms a brownish layer which is called as rust. That makes the iron as a very soft one. You know that iron is a very hard metal. It can able to break only with the help of the hammer, or when it is heated to a higher temperature it can able to melt. But this rust can able to make the iron as a very soft, just you break it, it was very brittle, it can be easily break with your hand itself when the rust is formed over it. So, this is the chemical reaction occurs. The next factor is nothing but solution of reactants. So, some reactions happens only the reactants are in the liquid form, when they are in the solution form. So, that is I have given an example also, you can go through the book before just listening this one. And also one more factors is electricity. So, when you pass current to the solution, the solution will contains the compound which can able to ionize, that is the ions can be separated. For example, when I say NaCl, sodium chloride, it can be separated as Na plus, that is sodium ions, and Cl minus, that is chloride ions. With that we can able to get the chlorine gas. It is used in the big industries for the preparation of chlorine. So, this process is called electrolysis. That is the chemical reactions happen by the electricity is called as electrolysis or electrochemical reaction. The next factor is heat. Heat, we know that the raw food can be changed into the cooked food by the chemical reaction happening between the food. That is the thing, and the reaction we called as thermochemical reaction, and I have given the examples also, we are recalling what we studied. And the next factor is light. A very good example, preparation of food by the plants, which we call as photosynthesis. So, photo means light, synthesis means production or decomposition, so production. So, with the help of the light, the plants with the presence of carbon dioxide and water, it can produce oxygen and starch, which is the food for that. The chemical reaction happens only in the presence of the sunlight. So, that is called as photosynthesis with the help of the light. So, light also can induce the chemical energy or chemical changes or chemical reactions. The next is catalyst. So, the catalyst is a substance which can able to increase the speed of the reaction. It will not take part in the chemical reaction, but when you add that it will speed up the reaction, that is called as catalyst. We studied that preparation of ammonia, the process we called as Haber's process. I hope that you have heard all these words in the previous class. Haber's process, and here the iron is used as a catalyst in the preparation of ammonia, and which is used in the ammonia is used in the preparation of fertilizers like urea and so on. So these are the things we studied in the previous classes. So now we can go to today's class. We are going to study about the effects of chemical changes. So there are some effects of chemical changes happens. That is, I already said you that the chemical changes will not occur in all the conditions. It need a specific conditions. At that time, it can produce heat, light, sound, pressure, and some other effects also. So we are going to learn about these effects in this class. So the first effect what we are going to learn is biological effects. So biological effects we can say as the spoilage of food and vegetables. So how these foods are spoiled? When will you say the food is spoiled? The change which makes the food unfit for human consumption. That is, we can't eat the spoiled food. So what makes this food to get spoiled? Because of the reaction happened by the enzymes present in the food, which gives which degrade the food. I hope you can understand. That is, the food will contain some enzymes. So that enzymes will take some chemical reactions and that will degrade the food. That is, we can't able to use the food. Degradation of food will be happening with the production of bad smell or odor. We say as odor or smell. Bad odor, taste and loss of nutrients, everything will be there. So this is the cause of spoilage of food. The enzymes will undergo some chemical reactions and makes the food to get spoiled. I can give an example. The rotten egg can give a bad smell because of the production of H2S gas is nothing but hydrogen sulfide gas. The rotten egg will produce hydrogen sulfide gas. So because of this only, that is the enzymes makes to produce this gas, because of that only we are getting the bad smell. And we can say the other examples, that is spoilage of vegetables, fruits, all these things because of the microbial action. So these are the reason for the spoilage of food. And the next we are going to learn about the rancidity of fish and meat. What is rancidity? First I will say you how it gets spoiled. That is, the fish and meat have high levels of polyunsaturated, I have mentioned here, polyunsaturated fatty acids which undergoes oxidation. Oxidation means when it comes in contact with the air or light, it gets spoiled, it creates a bad smell. That is, you just leave the dead one on the ground, you will get a very foul smell that we can't able to bear it. That smell because of the oxidation of this such fatty acids we have some fatty acids, amino acids and some fatty acids are there. So high levels of polyunsaturated fatty acids are present which undergoes oxidation, and oxidation is nothing but coming in contact with the atmospheric air or light. So that creates a foul smell. This process is called rancidity. I hope you can understand what is rancidity. The next topic is browning. When you cut an apple and just keep it out for some hours, you can see the color of the apple will be changing. Do you know what is the reason? It's nothing but this also happens because of the oxidation. The enzyme which is present in the fruits, vegetables or some other food things will be get oxidized. Let me see what is the enzyme present. The enzyme name is polyphenol oxidase. This is the enzyme present in the fruits and vegetables. Not in all the things. Some fruits and vegetables will have this enzyme. When it undergoes oxidation, when it comes in contact with the air, it undergoes a biochemical reaction. So the cells of these fruits and vegetables, apples, have the enzyme called polyphenol oxidase or tyrosinase. Okay, then when it comes in contact with the air, what happens with the oxygen present in the air? It undergoes a biochemical reaction in which the phenolic compound, as I said, it has a phenol, the enzyme. So the phenolic compounds present in the plants will be turned into brown, forming a brown pigment called melanin. So this is the thing, because of this only the fruits will change to brown color. So all these things happens because of the chemical changes or chemical reactions with the oxygen present in the atmosphere. So these are the biological effects which they gave. We have so many, but in your book they have gave only 3 topics, so I have dealing only these 3. So these are the biological effects. So just we can recall what are the biological effects. That is spoilage of food. The spoilage of food is because of their enzymes. The enzymes will undergo some chemical reactions and spoil the food, creating the bad smell or a bad taste, or also it lose the nutrients, everything. Then next is the rancidity of fish or meat. Though it will get a foul smell. What? Because of what? Because of it has high levels of polyunsaturated fatty acids are present. So that will react with the oxidation, it undergoes oxidation, and it also creates a bad smell, a foul smell. So that is called as rancidity. The next is browning. Browning is nothing but the change of color to the brown color. When you cut the apples or bananas and just leave it outside, the color will be changing. Why? Because of the oxidation. The same when it comes in contact with the air. The enzyme present in the fruits, here the enzyme we have is polyphenol oxidase or tyrosinase. It is called as tyrosinase, will undergo the biochemical reaction, and in which the phenolic compound present in the plants will form a brown pigment called melanin. So these are the biological effects. I hope you can understand. Now we are going to see about the environmental effects happens because of this chemical change. So I will just write here the topics, so it will be easy for you to take notes. So environmental effects. We can say as pollution, rusting, tarnishing of metal articles. So these are the chemical changes, that is, these are the effects caused by the environmental effects. The first one, pollution. We have already learned here this word so many times, and you also studied in our lower class what is pollution. That is why this pollution occurs. The pollution occurs because of the industries, that is the growth of industries and lot of automobiles used, and because of the industries we can get smokes and the wastewater is let in the river. All this things causes pollution. So what is pollution? What is the definition for the pollution? The unwanted change in the environmental is called as pollution, which affects the physical, chemical, biological, all the terms will be affected. So this term as pollution. What and how it creates? The chemical substances which is present because of this pollution is termed as pollutant. The substance which cause pollution is called as pollutant. So because of these pollutants only the pollution causes. From where all this pollution is caused? Because of the human activities. Every day we are using, we can see some people burning the fire or the waste things, firewood or waste things. The smoke, where it reaches to the air. It gets spoiled the atmosphere. So the pollution can be classified into 3 categories, that is air pollution, land pollution and water pollution. So we have studied elaborately in the lower classes how it creates, what happens. So we are going to learn what are the chemical substances present in this pollutions and what are the effects of that one. So the land pollution is caused by some of the chemicals like carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, as well as oxides of nitrogen, oxides of sulfur, chlorofluorocarbon, methane. All these things are the pollution caused for the air. That is, air pollution causes the chemical substances. And what are the effects of this? So these may lead to the acid rain, or it may lead to global warming, as well as it lead to the respiratory problems also. We can't able to breathe. We will suffocate because if there is more carbon dioxide, we can't breathe there. So respiratory problems will be there. So these are the chemicals. How we will go for and what are the chemical substances in the water pollution? So we know that the industries are letting out their water without treating properly. So if they leave out in the river just like that, the pollutions will be more. So it may causes so many diseases like skin diseases. Also it reduces the quality of water. We can't drink that water. It will create so many diseases also. Skin diseases will be created. So these are the effects of the water pollution. So like leather factories and adding so many things are there which can create this water pollution. The next is land pollution, the chemical substances we are adding, that is like fertilizers. If you add more fertilizers also, it will spoil the fertility of the soil. And also we can say fertilizers, then plastics. When you just throw the plastic, it will not degrade. It will take thousands of years to degrade. So it creates a pollution. So what are the effects of this? Here also, it will, the first thing as I said, it will lose the fertility. The fertility of the soil will be very less. As well as it will create respiratory problems, cancer and so on. So these are the effects caused by the environmental effects, that is the pollution. The main is pollution. So you can understand what is pollution. That is the unwanted change. It happens in the physical, chemical and biological effects. That is called as pollution, and the substance which create pollution is called as pollutant. This pollutants is nothing but the chemical substances which creates this pollution. And the next topic we are going to learn is rusting. This topic I have dealt you so many times we have learned how the rust forms. So we know that when the iron metals are just leave in the moisture place, it comes in contact because of the oxidation. When it comes in contact with the air and the water, it forms a brown layer which is called as rust, which makes the metal to very brittle. That is, you can able to break with your hand. But when you take a good iron bar or iron metal, you can't break it, but when the rust is formed, you can easily break it. It becomes very weak. So that is the causes of rusting. Then next is the tarnishing. I hope you can understand what is rusting. That is formation of brownish layer over the iron which makes it weak. That is called as, how it happens? Because of the oxidation. Oxidation is nothing but coming in contact with the atmospheric air and water. The next is tarnishing of metal articles. We can see when you go to the silver shop, you can see when you buy a new silver, it will be very shiny. That is, it will be very shiny. I can say the word luster. So it will be very shine. But after using, after few months, you can see a black color formation will be over that silver articles. How it forms? Because of the reaction with the atmospheric air, the same oxidation takes place here also. So it forms a black layer. So the appearance, the shining will be reduced because of the chemical reactions between the silver articles and the air present in the atmosphere. The next I can say in the brass, the brass is mainly consists of, in brass it is mainly consists of copper. So this copper will after some days it forms a greenish layer which forms because of the chemical reaction forming copper carbonate. It forms copper, the greenish layer you can see, and copper hydroxide will be formed, the result of all these things. So this is the greenish layer formed in the vessel. So in the brass vessel, the main constant of brass is copper. So when it comes under oxidation, when it comes in contact with the air, it forms a greenish layer. It makes a green, as I said, here rusting forms a brownish layer. Here it forms a greenish layer which can give copper carbonate and copper hydroxide. So that is the reason the chemical reactions occurs. The next we are going to learn about the production of heat, light, sound and pressure. So I hope you can understand this environmental effects. So very simple, this heat, light we already studied. When you rub your hands, you just keep on rubbing your hands, you can say you will feel the heat. This is because of the physical contact, that is by the friction we can say. Physical contact you can, like that when two chemical reactants combine with each other, it can produce heat. So the reaction, the chemical reactions which produce heat is called as an exothermic reaction. So now we are going to learn about the production of heat, light, sound and pressure. So this heat, when two reactants combine, they produce heat. So this is an effect of this chemical reaction. So the chemical reactions, I'll just write, which produce heat is called exothermic reaction. That is, it gives out heat. You just say the calcium oxide, when you mix with water, it gives calcium hydroxide. So this is nothing but the slaked lime which you use for whitewashing. So it produces, we can't touch this because it produces heat. We can use in our home, the grandmothers or the old people, they used to have the betel leaves applying some little calcium hydroxide. If you add more, it will get burned. So that is the reason. It produces, when it reacts with water, it produces lot of heat. So that's the reason. So it can able to, the chemical reactions can able to produce heat. This is the effect of chemical reaction. And I can say the example, so the chemical reaction which produces heat is called exothermic reaction. I have given the example, that is the quicklime. Calcium oxide is called as quicklime. In a general name we call it as quicklime. When it is react with water, it gives calcium hydroxide, is called as slaked lime, which is used for the whitewashing. The next is we are going to learn about light. So when you light the candle, it burns. How it burns? Because it reacts, the wax which is present that have some chemical reactions, it can give out light. So that is the reason. So the chemical changes happens to produce light also. I can say the example, the magnesium ribbon. If the magnesium ribbon catches fire and it will give you light, it won't make sound, it won't make so heat also. So it will make light. And we can say the crackers also. Some crackers just give the light alone without making noise. So that is an example we can say. It's a very simple thing, you can understand, I hope so. The next one is sound. We can say sound. Some chemical reactions will happen with the sound, with the giving out sound. For example, the hydrogen, when it gets burned, it will give a pop sound. That is, it shows the presence of hydrogen is there. So for this also we can say the crackers. The chemical substances present in the crackers will get burned because of the heat. It will make sound as well as it gives out light. So that's an example. We have so many examples in our book. The next is pressure. It's a very simple thing. The chemical reactions happen between the two reactants. In a closed vessel will produce some gas. I can say very simple, the Coca-Cola bottle, when you just take a Coca-Cola bottle and add some Mentos or Eno powder or aspirin in that one, what happens? You just close it and keep it. After sometimes you can see the gas is getting collecting. That is what gas is? Nothing but carbon dioxide. The gas gets collected, and if it is tightly closed, it will increase the pressure so that the bottle will explode. So we are seeing all these things in the YouTube. So we are watching so many videos in that one. So here the chemical reactions can produce the gases and increase the pressure, and it can make the things to explode also. So it can increase the pressure. So these are the effects of the chemical changes. It can produce heat, it can produce light, it can produce sound, it can produce pressure. So in the crackers we get heat, light and sound. All the three will get because of the, also as the pressure also, because of the chemical reactions between the reactants present in the explosives. So I hope you can understand the lesson. With this the lesson gets over. Just we can recall what are the topics we dealt today in this class. So we studied about the effects of chemical changes. We studied about the biological effects. In that we studied about the spoilage of food. We studied about the rancidity of fish and meat, as well as the browning, the change of color. We studied so many things, how it happens. You just have the book and go through one so that you can understand. When I teach, you can see the book, you can understand. The next we studied about the environmental effects, pollution, rusting, tarnishing of metal articles. So pollution is caused by the chemical effects changes in the environmental. It may affect physically, chemically and biologically, and it will spoil the environment also. That is called as pollution, and the cause is pollutants, that is nothing but the chemical substances present in the environment. And the rusting is because of the oxidation. The iron metals, when comes in contact with the air, it forms a brown layer called as rust, and this process is called as rusting. The next is tarnishing of silver, metal articles, that is the shine will be reduced, that is luster will be reduced because of the oxidation. When these metal articles come in contact with the air, it will react with that and forms a black layer for the silver articles. In the brass, it forms a greenish layer because of the formation of copper carbonate and copper hydroxide. So these are the environmental effects. And other effect, that is it will produce heat, light, sound and pressure. It's a very easy to understand. So heat, light, you just keep in your mind the crackers so that it will be easy for you, but they are given as a paragraph, each and everyone has a given paragraph and with examples also. So the crackers, when you light a cracker, what happens? It can produce heat also, it can produce sound, it can produce light, as well as because of the pressure it explodes. So these are the things caused because of the chemical reactions between the chemical substances. I hope the first term portion got over. We'll have the revision in the next class. Thank you.